on this computer. So hopefully you can see this. What we've got is I've opened up from the content there. I don't know if you can see the Zoom stuff, but if we look at what I tried to give you on the home page, the welcome to the course, there is, these copied pasted from the course outline. So what you can see is we actually just have 4 topics that we have to cover in this course. There is no final exam, so all of the assessment will be based on the work that you do in class. So when I say the work that you do, we've got 4 topics. We're actually going to start with Introduction to Web Design because of the way that the Eid holiday is hitting us. You do have a project assignment to do, which is a website. And sorry to take away some of your Eid on that, but the idea was that you can use some of the time during Eid to work on that very large assignment. And so to make that possible, we need to start on the web design topic first. So each of these topics should take a couple weeks, and then actually diagramming software doesn't take very long. But the big ones, they take a couple of weeks. And so the first one is HTML. Now we say HTML or web design, with the tools that we use is HTML and CSS. And if you look at because I think I'm sharing the screen with you, you can see that we have to do labs. And so, for example, today you'll see a lab. We have to do some assignments, and that includes that website thing that I told you about. We're going to have some quizzes now and practical tests. So the quizzes will be sort of theory type stuff, but the practical tests you're going to have for each topic, you'll have a test where you have to upload your result to a Dropbox, and that will be you showing your skill in the topic that we're doing. So for example, you'll have a test where I'll say, okay, you got an hour and a half to make a certain website for this first topic. And so your website should have these features. And so make this website, make sure you do all of the folders correctly, make sure your HTML and your CSS are correct. And so that's the first thing that we're shooting at the moment. So our first topic, I hope that's sort of, any question about what is expected of you in this course, or how I'm going to assess you. I hope that I've sort of covered that for you. I don't see any questions. Just Bushra and Muna here. And you're very welcome, Bushra and Muna. I hope we'll see some of the others. But
Sir?
Yes, speak.
Should we download the program?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So
HTML. That's
D2L. Yes.
No.
HTML.
Yes, this.
Right. So very good question. So you need to have an editor to do this. So what you can see in the screen at the moment, I'll just put that up. That's like the first assignment that you have to do, or the first exercise that we're going to do today, and I'll show you how to do it. But basically, you need to have an editor. You could do this in Microsoft Word and save the file as a .html file, or you could do it in Notepad++. Notepad++ is a open source software. What that means is it's free. You can easily find it on the internet, and so all you need to do is navigate to their site, which I think is probably notepad.org or something like that. Now, the other one that you could use, which is a little bit more helpful, there's a system called Brackets. You could use that, or you could use Visual Studio Code. Now, I mentioned Visual Studio Code. It's a little bit more sort of has a bit more feature rich, and it's a good one if you are thinking that you're going to be doing the software program. So, I mean, you know, at some point you have to make a choice. Are you going to do the software program or are you going to do the hardware program? Maybe you've already made that choice. If you're going to do the software program, you'd find that the Visual Studio Code would be a good system to have. Now, I've got Visual Studio Code. This is it here. So I hope you can see my screen, right? So if you navigate or if you Google Visual Studio Code, you can download and use this software. It is free. It's not just Visual Studio, it's Visual Studio Code. And maybe you can see, it says that I'm screen sharing, so you should be able to see this. And I'm sorry, it's a bit slow. It's a time for me to upgrade my my computer, I think, or else get rid of a lot of stuff off of it. So, I mean, this is just, there's nothing there, but let's say I wanted to do a new file. And then what's good about Visual Studio Code is it's going to give you numbers. So it's easy for you to see and to sort of fix issues that you may have with your code as you're going to, you know, you can go to a particular line. I got more than, I double clicked on this a few times, so I got more than one instance of the app running. So I only need one. So I've got one there. Man, I must have hit it a few times, right? So Visual Studio Code. Another one that you could use is Notepad. I think I might have mentioned that. And everybody's got that, I think. Now, Notepad just comes with Windows, so you can have that. But you can download Notepad++. I'd say it's, you know, maybe not quite as nicely featured as Visual Studio Code, but it's pretty good. Now, what I'm saying to you is that, so this is what over here is Notepad++, and you can see what's good in Notepad++ is it does give you some help by changing the color of different aspects. So this is a style sheets, CSS. There's a HTML there. So it does give you different colors. You can see the tags and the IDs have been changed in color, etc. That's kind of cool. Notepad++ is fine. So you can get that just by Google Notepad++, do the download and install. Or you can Google Visual Studio, I hope you can see this, Visual Studio Code. If you download that one, you'll find that it's a really nice one. And yeah, you can see that it's got an update for me, and it is also free. Okay, so let's have a look at what it is that we need to do to write an HTML file. When I opened Notepad++, you can see here that this is an HTML file. HTML files have tags in them. Can you see the tags? Each of these tags, they come in pairs. Most of them, not all of them are in pairs, but most of them are. So for example, I've got an HTML tag there that opens the document. I highlighted it to show you that when I get down to the bottom, there's the closing tag. So they come in pairs mostly. The closing tags have a, is that a forward or a backslash? I guess that's a backslash. And the opening tags do not. So we got, that's an open HTML tag, and the entire HTML document then is inside those two tags. There's the close tag, and then you see a body tag. You might also notice that as we're doing this, that we're using indents. So you see that the body tag is indented from the HTML tag, and above the body tag, there's a pair of head tags. Now the head, these are things which are instructions to the computer, but they are not visual to a person looking at an HTML file. Now, I haven't had anybody ask me any questions yet, so I'm just trying to anticipate one of the questions or some of the questions that you might have. All right, so what is this HTML? How do we work it? Where does it, what do we do? When you open up a browser, that is when your the browser is actually, can think of it as like translating the computer program, where the computer programming language is HTML, and the browser translates the HTML and then presents that on the screen for you. So HTML is the programming language that we use for programming the web. When we open a browser, the browser is translating the HTML to something that we can see. And so it's got a lot of special things in there also. I mean, we've got some links and stuff like that. But for example, we can actually insert into a page some images just by, if we, by using JPEG or PNG files. If we know where that file is, we've got a special tag for inserting them, which is called an image tag. Funny enough, IMG. I don't know if we've got any images in this document. I don't see any. We got a lot of things going on. We got a form. Let's see. Yeah, but there's an image there. See, there's an image. Shoes, Clark's. Okay, so for example, here we have an image tag, which is open there. SRC means source. So what this is saying is there's an image. I want an image to show at this point in the HTML file. And this is where you're going to find the image. It's in a folder called shoes. Relative to this position here, we'll go to the shoes folder, and then this is the name of the file. And not only is the HTML telling you where that file is, but it's telling you how to process it. So it's saying make the width exactly 252 pixels and make the height 345 pixels. The alt means that if the image link is broken, and that could happen if somebody misspelled the JPEG file name, or if somebody moved the file away from this position, then the image wouldn't show. And so what the alt does is it will put into this place these words, Clark, Color, Rose, in the case that, or in the event that the image link is broken. So that's so we're looking now at some HTML file. We've got divs. Each of these tags, they're different elements. Divs are like the HTML tag. They open and close, and you can give them a name. And so this one is a name which is associated with a class, and that allows you to program them with their formatting. And we'll look at that a little bit later in the course. So we don't need to really get into that too much right now. What we need to get into is, well, first I need to see, are there any questions from you guys? I'm not seeing anything on the chat, so I'm assuming this is okay. All right.
Sir,
Yes.
can you show us the picture of this program, because I want to download?
Okay, I think what you mean is, can you show me how I can get this program? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what I would need to do is I'd need to get my Google. I'll go to Google. So I'll open a new browser window, and I'll go to Google. I got Google here, one of these. I don't see it. That's weird. So let's just go to Google, not Mail. And I think it's because I use it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, which one do you want me to look for? Notepad or Visual? Visual is better. Visual Studio Code. So look for that. Okay, and then when I search for it, you see that there's actually a website there that's called code.visualstudio.com. I'm thinking that's probably it, right? So there's, you have to always check these things very carefully before you do the download, because there's lots of websites out there, but I think this one might be okay. Code Visual, yeah, that looks right. And so that looks like that's where it is. So there's a download button there, right? And so I'll click on that. And then before you do the download, just make sure you get the right one. You might be using a Mac computer. I don't know. You probably aren't. You might be using a Linux computer. You probably aren't. You're probably using a Windows computer. So if you are, then that's the one that you want to download. Okay, now, is that right? And so you'd click on that to get that file. And you see that it is now coming. Now, when that is finished, and it's a little bit, it's like almost 70 megabytes. So it's going to take a bit to do that. You can see this, right?
Yes.
So you can see that I'm downloading this. This is all free. It's going to take a minute. It says it's going to take another 6 or 7 seconds. I think I can probably install it over top of my current version of it. Anyway, it said a minute ago that I needed to do an update anyway. So I'm going to double click on that exe file. And it does say that it's opening. And so I do have all right. So it's, I've got Norton. You might not have Norton, but Norton says that that file is okay. So that's good. All right. So there's my notepad. We're going to put that away because I like Visual Studio better. Where are you, Visual Studio? It's, oh, actually, this would be, should be one of the, like that. No, that's Teams. Give it a second. But anyways, well, there it is. Is that it? It says thanks for downloading. Yeah, okay, so what have I got here? Here's my setup. Setup is detected visual code currently running. Please close all incidences. Okay, so I'm just doing this so that you can see. So I need to close Visual Studio. I have to physically close it. It doesn't close it for me. I got a few of these going, so I got to close that. And oh, I got a few of them going, don't I? I will these are the installation of it. So, all right, so there we go. As easy as that. I now have a new version of Visual. So I think I will create a desktop icon. I've got some other things going there. And there we go. Take a second. This is the one that I would use. Absolutely, this is the one that I would use. Is Visual Studio Code. And I say that because the other, you don't have to use Visual Studio Code. You might like brackets. You might like Notepad++. They're fine. Perfect. I would not be able to tell the difference in how you make it. All right. This is what you use. You could do this in Microsoft Word if you could save it as an HTML file. But I strongly encourage you not to do that. I wouldn't use anything other than sort of Notepad or okay. And there we go. I've got my Visual Studio Code and I'm ready to start making a file. Is that okay? I hope that worked out for you. All right, so it's got a lot of instructions there. I'm not going to go and read those instructions. And this welcome is the same kind of thing, right? What I've got is I've got a file that I can work on, and I'll need to save that. I'll need to remember where it is, and then I'll be able to go ahead and do my editing. So I've got this document. This is what you're asked to do today, is you're asked to make this very, very simple little HTML document, which you can see over here that I'm waving my cursor over at the moment. And so to make an HTML file, you see that I have my editor. And as I said, I'm using Visual Studio Code, but I don't have to use that. I could use one of those other things. The first thing that you need to do is you need to have this kind of a tag at the start, which the idea of this tag is to let the browser know what kind of document you've got. And so this is to say that you have a HTML document. And so the browser will know that this is how it should be treated as an HTML document. And so so the browser will then process the tags that it finds inside the document. So you start your document like that. Then you can have an HTML tag. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to close that HTML tag too. Okay. And so every tag, not every tag, but tags like HTML, head, title that we see, body, they have an open tag and they have a closed tag. The closed tag has that slash like that. Okay, now it's not helping me out at the moment because all it sees is an empty file. But when I save this file, I shall save it as an HTML file, and then I'll find that the editor will start helping me. So let's do that. Let's save this file, save as. Now you should have a nice place to save the file. And you see I've got a lot of rubbish here, right? So what I need to do is I need to probably go and into my my Explorer, not Internet Explorer, just Explorer. I've got, you know what, I'm going to put on the desktop. I'm going to create a folder here on the desktop for this. Now, excuse me, my desktop is a bit messy. Hope yours isn't this bad. And so I'm going to do a new folder, and I'm going to call it CP1000. And then I'm going to open that folder, and maybe I'll put a new folder here too, which will be, what is this? It's HTML lesson 1. Okay, so now I've got a place to save that document, right? So where was I? I was over here. I'm going to save this document now. Save. Oh, this is the save as, right? So I need to find that. That would be not in my Dropbox. Probably I should have done it in my Dropbox, but it was on the desktop, and there was a CP1000, and that's where it is. Now, when I save it, very, very important, this part here, is don't save it as a plain text. Search through the different options that you have. You must save it as an HTML file. So I'm going to save that as an HTML file. It's at the moment, it's called Untitled 1, but I will save it as lesson 1. And when I save that, you'll see, like magic, this changes, right? We've got some colors happening. Now, when I highlight the HTML, it highlights the opposite tag. So now the editor is being responsive to me and is going to help me out. It's got a lot of help built into it to make it easier for me to write my HTML. So now that I've saved this, it's saved as an HTML file. Make sure you do that process when you save them. Make sure you save it as an HTML file, and then things will start working for you. So we got two parts in the HTML file. We've got the head. Now see the help that it's giving me. Look at that. You know, I just typed HED, and it helps me. I can do head or header. Well, I'll do head. And watch what happens when I close that. The other end of the tag comes up automatically. It's a big help for you. It's going to save you some time typing, and it's also going to make your code a bit better. I didn't type any of this thing here about the end of that tag. That all came up automatically. That's some help that's coming to me from Visual Studio Code. Now, in the head, we put a thing called a title. And you see, I didn't have to type all that. It gave me some help, told me that there's a title. There it is. Title has 2 tags. I can just say lesson 1. Now, this title is not going to be shown in the browser, but where it will be shown is when the browser opens, you'll see it at the top where the tag is at the top. That's where you'll see that. So the head is just instructions for the HTML, but also works for the tag at the top. Then we have the body. This is where the stuff, and look at that, it's even helped me type body. And when I close that, you see the other body tag comes up, and this is where I put all the stuff. So this is just some text. Obviously, I'm going to save that. You can save just Control S, or you can go and use the menu, and you'll see there for save, you Control S. You've got some shortcuts. So yeah, Control S. Now, the thing is, where is that document? So how can we see, how does the browser work? Well, if you navigate to the document, there it is, right? And since it's been saved as a as an HTML file, it will come up with this emblem here. Now, yours might not look the same. It depends on which browser you have set as your default on your computer. So it seems like I've set Microsoft Edge as my browser, but you may have Google or Safari or whatever your computer is. Now, when I double click on that, it doesn't look very spectacular, but I can see that it is processing the code, and the only thing that it says is this is a website. But look up here for the tab, I probably called it tag. That was a mistake. It's a tab. For the tab, it says lesson 1. So lesson 1, the title goes up there. Let me just prove that to you. I'll put my name there. Save it, Control S. Refresh the browser. There's my name in the tab, and the website is there. All right, so that's the very, very start of our website. Not much going on there, but it is a website. We've got 2 parts to it. We've got a head and we've got a body. The head has a title in it. There's a lot of other stuff we can put in the head, but that's all we're doing at the moment. The stuff we're actually going to see on the screen, that's all going to be inside the body. Now, the actual document that we're supposed to be creating is a Word file here somewhere. Yeah. All right. So that's here. I got 10 minutes to go. Can we finish this in 10 minutes? I don't know. So we got to put all this stuff in. It's supposed to have there's a meta tag. All this means is that this is the characters that we're going to show on the screen. I suppose we could put that. Yeah. Do we have time? Yeah. Okay. Meta tag. Not really much to that meta tag, but meta and char set tag. Char set equals UTF, universal something. Yeah, I shouldn't worry about that too much. You know, this website would work perfectly fine without that meta tag. But if you wanted to do in some other websites, because this is basically a very generic website, but if you had a website where you wanted to show Russian symbols or Arabic symbols or something like that, you would have to get a character set which would include those symbols, and so it might be a different one. And so, but UTF-8, that works fine for these Roman symbols that we're using here. And so we've got in the body there, this web page example uses HTML tags. So I should put that, and it's using P tags, right? So, well, actually, you know what? Let's just put some P tags on this. P stands for paragraph. And when I did that, one of the things that I like to do with these simple websites like this is do a bit of a copy and paste. But anyways, this web page example, so it doesn't say this website, it says this web page example. Oh, sorry, that was dumb. So I'm going to undo that. This web page. Be careful with your edits. There we go. Web page example uses basic HTML tags. Yeah, okay. So that's
Sir,
right. Yes.
I write exactly like this example.
Yes. So you're supposed to do just
Okay.
like that. So that's what that is. As I said, you save it as you go and test it. So I'm Control S, then go back to my browser. Every time I test it, I go back to the browser. Remember, my browser here is this one. And as I test it, you'll see that, all right, so it's nothing very fancy there, but it is working. Now, as I said, I like to save time. I can see that there's a lot of similarity between all of these. And so I'm going to copy and paste. Y type when you can paste. Paragraph tags. And then another one is a line break. Uses a line break. a line break and a blank line. Uses a blank line. Oh, after the word break. Okay. Now I got 6 minutes left. Okay. All right. So, okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this one uses a BR. This is the BR here, right? That means go to a new line. So that's just a fancy way of saying go to a new line. They got another thing there where okay, so that's inserting a new line. Actually, the paragraph tag isn't finished there, right? So I'm going to take this paragraph tag from there. So BR is used for a new line. And so all of this is all part of the same paragraph, but there's a paragraph with more than one line in it. And then we have a line break. Put that in the paragraph as well. So a line break is used next, and the line break is going to be this HR tag, horizontal line, I think. So you can see that there, horizontal rule tag, horizontal rule, and then, yeah, I don't know. I think that's about all we need to do. Maybe put another paragraph after that. And so this is the line break. So that's what that is. I'm going to save that. And when I go to my browser, and remember it's this browser, sorry, I got more than one, this one. So when I refresh it, I can see all that stuff. I can see the line break, etc. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is you've got another one that you have to do. And I don't think I'm going to have time because I've got like 3 minutes left. But you have to create this one, which has these things here. All right, that's kind of easy that they're in Word, because that means that I can copy them, right? So if I copy that, I'm not going to make a new page. I'm going to put that in this page, right? So if I put it in this page here, so what this does is it uses these special tags called H1, H2, H3. These are header tags. Heading tags. So what they will do is they will produce different size text. The smaller the number, the bigger the text. So H1 is going to be big and H6 is going to be smaller, but they're all going to be bold in the way that they are presented. So if I save that, and to test it, you always have to save it. You always have to save it. So I'm saving it now. And then if I go to my browser again and refresh, so this is it, and you'll see come down below here all of those little headings. So there's heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. This is what you need to do for today's exercise, and we got 2 minutes left. So do you have any questions? That's it. If you can create this web page that I've just done there, that's all you need to do for today's exercise. It's really just to get you going in HTML. Any questions, Bushra or Mona?
Sir, how
Yes.
can I go to the browser?
Okay,
I
so
only open the website.
how you go to the browser is you
Yes.
access it through your file manager. So my file manager is Windows Explorer. So you find the file that you've saved. It must be saved as a .html file, and then just double click on it and the browser will automatically open. If you have saved it as a HTML file, then whatever browser you have used as your default browser, that's the one that will be used to open it. I hope I answered that question all right.
Okay, thank you.
So when I double click on this, boom, it opens up there. A browser window opens. And so now I have two windows with it because I double clicked on it twice. Okay, hopefully I answered that question all right. Any other question? We've got less than 1 minute. I'm sorry, the class is going to end. You can continue. I will give you my phone. You can WhatsApp me or whatever. And if you
Sir, we can submit this.
I'll open
How
a
we can
Dropbox. I will open a
Yes.
Dropbox for it now. Okay.
Okay.
And there's my phone number. If you want to open a WhatsApp, I will be happy to join you with any questions. So thanks, students. As I said, it's going to end soon. I'm not going to end it. It's going to automatically end because I have 40 minutes. If I probably don't have time for another question because it's, oh, it says I got 40 seconds. Any question we can do in 40 seconds?
No, thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you. And